If you're planning a big trip, a gap year, a sabbatical, or you just have a running bucket list of places you have to experience one day, this video is for you, because today I'm not talking about the typical see the Eiffel Tower, visit Rome, go see Big Ben in London kind of travel list. I'm talking about super unique experiences that backpackers whisper about in hostels, the ones that you don't even know exist until you meet someone and says, oh yeah, I just spent 3 days crossing the Gobi Desert on a camel, and suddenly your entire life plans change. And the best part, they're all extremely affordable, hence the term backpacker experience, because anyone who has backpacked for long periods of time before knows we all love to stretch our dollars and see how much longer we can last out on the road for. Over the many years that I've been traveling, nearly all of that time has been spent doing very budget-friendly things while backpacking, and I can tell you that these are hands down the most unique, surreal, unforgettable backpacker experiences I've ever done, and I want to share them with you so you can think about them years from now and still smile about how amazing it was, just like I do. So first, we have one of the most surreal backpacker experiences you can have in the world, doing a multi-day camel trek across the Gobi Desert and camping with nomadic families. This isn't a tour where you just kind of hop out, take photos in the sand, and you leave. This is days of nothing but dunes, silence, camels, and skies so clear at night it almost doesn't look real. It feels like you stepped into a documentary about a place humans were really never meant to live. And of course, you can do this in most deserts around the world, you know, wherever you're traveling. If this experience is offered, do it. We did ours in the Gobi Desert, like I mentioned before, because we were already living in China at the time, so it was really easy to fly up there from Chongqing and do this for the weekend after visiting the Rainbow Mountains. And truly, this is one of my favorite travel experiences of my entire life. Just riding on that camel, looking around and seeing nothing but sand in every single direction was the most beautiful thing. It just made you feel so connected to nature and so small. Then you arrive in the middle of nowhere to the most gorgeous camp set up. The locals were barbecuing food for us. We went four-wheeling, we had sand sleds, and you know, we just had so much fun hanging out on the dunes. Then once the sun set, you saw the most incredible stars you'll ever see in your entire life. Then you wake up to the most magical sunrise over the sand dunes, and again, I just can't stress it enough. I feel like a broken record already on the first point, but it's just so magical. It feels otherworldly, and it's just so hard to even describe. The best part for this 2-day, 1-night trek, everything included, it was only like $70, something around there. So cheap. So again, a magical backpacker experience on an extreme backpacker budget. It's a win-win. Now let's talk about this backpacker boat trip in Indonesia that runs between Bali and Lombok that feels like absolute chaos in the best way. You sleep on the deck under the stars, you wake up to dolphins jumping next to the boat, you snorkel in crystal clear water, and you're surrounded by other travelers who all feel like they're in on this same secret. It's uncomfortable, I won't lie. It's hilarious, it's beautiful, unforgettable, all at once. Back when I did this in 2019, it was about $100 for this 3-day, 2-night experience with everything included, so extremely cheap. Now, depending on the company and time of year, it does range from about $150 to $300 for the experience, which is still super cheap in my opinion, considering it's 2 nights of accommodation, multiple activities, 3 meals a day, and transportation from Bali to Lombok. A typical itinerary is island hopping on day 1, Kalor Island for a short hike with insane views, Manjarit for your first snorkeling stop, and then Kalong Island at sunset. Day 2, you get to explore Komodo Island, which is insanely awesome and dangerous at the same time. Then you head to Pink Beach, which is absolutely stunning. Then Manta Point to snorkel with manta rays. And then on day 3, you do a sunrise hike on Padar Island before docking at Lombok. The reason why I said it was uncomfortable earlier is because this, along with one other experience further down on the list, is probably the most uncomfortable sleeping situation. It's just like 30 mats on the roof of the deck, and you're all kind of just sleeping next to each other. So it's like a hostel, but on steroids. But that's also what makes this one of the ultimate backpacker experiences, because those 3 days you get so close to these people. You're sleeping next to each other, you're eating with each other, you're doing all the activities to each other, you're going to the bathroom in the same hole on the boat. Yes, the bathrooms are gnarly on the boat, I will not lie. There's nowhere to have a minute to yourself, so you're just all in. You're fully immersed with this amazing group of like-minded backpackers who just want to experience the world as much as you. And honestly, it's so incredible. I did this when I was solo traveling and I met amazing people. I can't recommend it enough. It's the kind of thing that people talk about in hostels for years. years. Now let's talk about the other experience with brutal sleeping conditions that I just mentioned, trekking in Myanmar from Kala to Inle Lake. One of the most special ways to experience any country is just to walk through it. In Myanmar, there's a multi-day trek where you hike from village to village, stay in local homes, and pass through landscapes that barely see tourists. You're not sightseeing, you're living alongside people for a few days, and honestly, this is one of the experiences that I think about daily because yes, don't get me wrong, the views are awesome and just walking that far is a great accomplishment, but just getting to interact with locals in these tiny villages and see how they live their daily lives and just trying to communicate with them, but you kind of can't, so you're just like smiles and laughter. It's truly the most heartwarming experience. They are just such kind, beautiful people who want to share their country and their life with us. It was so amazing and unbelievably cheap. It was only about 40 USD for a 3-day, 2-night trek where you have a guide who guides you through the countryside from Kalat to Inle Lake, plus all your meals that are cooked by locals in their homes in the tiny countryside villages, and all of the overnight stays in their home, and an amazing boat ride across Inle Lake to end your trek. Like, honestly, it doesn't get cheaper than that. And like I said before, just seeing parts of the country that most people never get to see, interacting with locals in their home, eating the local food that they cooked, is an experience unlike anything else. I really can't describe it. It's nothing like anything I've experienced on my travels. I highly, highly recommend this. Obviously, if you're in Myanmar, but honestly, any country you're in that offers something like that, it's a can't miss opportunity if you actually want to feel a true piece of the country and the culture. It's one of the purest forms of travel you can do. Now let's talk about visiting an ethical elephant sanctuary in Thailand, not riding elephants, not watching them perform, but actually spending the day feeding them, walking with them, bathing them in a river at a true sanctuary. It's messy, it's emotional, and it's incredibly humbling to be this close to such a massive animal in a respectful way. This is something I've been lucky enough to do twice, and it's only about 70 USD for the full day experience where they pick you up in the morning, bring you to the sanctuary, feed you a meal while you kind of watch the elephants and just enjoy themselves in the field next to you. Then you're able to grab bananas and feed them, followed by a mud bath and then a rinse in the river. But the best part about this entire experience is that it's completely elephant-led. They do not force you to do anything. So if you only get to feed them one banana and then the elephants walk away, that's it. That's all you get to do. They won't force them to come back, which I really like. Or if they don't want to go in the mud for a few hours, okay, then we wait. They'll make their way over there eventually, just naturally, and then we can join them. That's really the best part about this whole thing. It's just basically getting to take part in an elephant's normal day and not disturb them. Just kind of be with them, feeling their skin, seeing them play with one another, just truly embracing how enormous and majestic these creatures are is a once-in-a-lifetime experience that I cannot recommend enough. It's a wildlife experience that you walk away feeling so good about. Next up, we have hiking in Patagonia. Patagonia doesn't feel like a place on Earth. It feels like another planet made of wind, glaciers, and jagged mountains. The hikes here aren't casual walks. They're challenging, they're dramatic, and absolutely cinematic from start to finish. Every turn looks fake. Like, I have been to some beautiful places on this planet, seen some majestic mountain ranges. Nothing comes close to seeing Mount Fitzroy on the Argentinian side of Patagonia, in my opinion. I was just in such awe when I saw it. And again, the best part about this is that hiking is free, so it's super backpacker budget friendly. So for those of you who don't know, Patagonia is actually split up into Chile and Argentina, so there's two sides and the area is massive. So the more time you have, obviously the more of this beautiful region you can explore. We only had about 5 days because we were working remote while living in Buenos Aires. I mean, if there was Wi-Fi or service that was reliable down there, we could have stayed longer, but we kind of knew that it wasn't. But that's the beauty of this place. The service isn't great because you're literally at the bottom of the earth. Like, this is as low as you can get without going to Antarctica, and the nature here just feels untouched. When I saw the Prado Moreno Glacier for the first time, I legitimately cried. It's just the closest thing I've seen to just pure, raw, untouched nature. It's just so gorgeous, and I can imagine that that's what it feels like in every direction if you are lucky enough to go to Antarctica, which I really, really want to do someday. But this entire area has glaciers and unlimited hikes and gorgeous views. We stayed on the Argentinian side because of the lack of time, like I said before. So we stayed in El Calafate for the first 2 days to do the glacier and a few hikes there. Then we went to El Chalten then to hike Mount Fitzroy and a few other hikes in the area too. And again, this is just the Argentinian side, which you could spend weeks hiking through and not even see it all before heading over to the Chilean side. But when you see Mount Fitzroy for the first time, your jaw will drop. Like I actually had to stop on the hike and just soak it all in because it was the most amazing peak and mountain range in general I had ever seen. So if you love hiking, this is as bucket list as it gets. Now let's leave Argentina and head to Ecuador for the next experience on the list, staying at the Secret Garden near Cotopaxi, Ecuador. This is a hidden lodge near Cotopaxi volcano where backpackers end up staying way longer than they planned. You're in the middle of nowhere, surrounded by volcano views, hammocks, horses, and other travelers from all over the world. It feels cozy and surreal at the same time. This is a little pricier than some of the experience on the list in Southeast Asia, but still super affordable in my opinion. It's $110 per person for a 3-day, 2-night package where it includes your van ride from Quito to Secret Garden, your hostel dorm room for accommodation for 2 nights, 3 meals a day, and 2 guided hikes. And the grounds here are absolutely gorgeous. There are llamas roaming free on the grounds, which is so cute, jacuzzis, hammocks, and just so much green space. So you really do have the option to just fully be by yourself, immerse yourself in nature, unplug, or of course, interact with backpackers all day long since we're all there together doing the same experience. You can also upgrade to other accommodation styles like these super cute Hobbit style cabins or other regular cabins if you want privacy instead of being in a dorm. So you definitely have most options, and most people end up staying way longer than they planned. I know we did because it was just so peaceful. There was no service there, which I kind of liked. So every morning I'd wake up, grab some tea, and read in a hammock with Cotopaxi volcano in the distance. Like, are you kidding me? Then I'd do some hiking and I'd come back, shower, hang out in the common space with everyone, just play cards, games, just talk and hang out. It's similar to the Indonesia boat experience where you're just surrounded by like-minded budget backpackers all looking for the same thing in life. You know, we just want to experience as much of this beautiful planet for as cheap as possible. It was such a beautiful experience that I can't recommend enough. Next, let's talk about swimming with whale sharks in the Philippines. There are very few moments in travel where you truly feel tiny. Slipping into the ocean at sunrise and seeing a giant whale shark glide underneath you is one of them. They're gentle, they're enormous, and completely surreal to be next to. It's only $20, which is crazy cheap, and what's even crazier is how close they are to shore. You're standing on the shore with a group, then you hop in this teeny tiny wooden canoe, which is kind of like, you paddle out for like 2 minutes. You can still clearly see the shore right there, and then your guide just says, okay, get in. And you're like, what do you mean? Sure enough, you get out of the boat, you slide into the water, and as soon as you put your head down, you are just surrounded by these massive whale sharks. At first, it's honestly a little bit scary just because of how big they are, but they're so docile. They're just the epitome of the phrase gentle giant. Watching them glide through the water all around you is truly one of the most otherworldly experiences ever. Ever since this experience, I've always wanted to get my scuba diving cert because I just had never experienced anything like this out of body experience. When you're down below the water and surrounded by these creatures, I feel like it's the closest thing to leaving our world or our reality, and it's just so beautiful. It really is a once in a lifetime kind of encounter. Next, let's talk about going on a safari in Sri Lanka. Most people think that you have to go to Africa to go on a safari, but Sri Lanka offers an incredible one for a fraction of the price. Yes, you won't see animals that are native to Africa like zebras, lions, but on a Sri Lankan safari, you're still in a jeep at sunrise spotting elephants, crocodiles, birds, and if you're lucky, even leopards, which we did get to see on ours, and it was so incredible. It feels wild and raw without the luxury price tag. It's only $70 for a half-day safari, which is plenty of time. They pick you up from your hotel in the morning, then drive you through the park with a guide for about 4 to 5-ish hours, give you a light lunch, and then they drop you back off. And that $70 includes the national park entrance fee. So really it is an amazing deal when you compare it to African safari prices, because that is so high on my bucket list. And the reason why I haven't gone yet is because they're insanely expensive. Just gonna have to wait until I'm a lot older for that kind of price tag. But that's why this was so special to me, because I've always dreamed my whole life of going going on a safari ever since I was little, so it was amazing to experience it for so cheap. Obviously, if you have the money for an African safari, you won't beat the wildlife that you can see there, but if you don't, I promise you that this safari through Yala National Park in Sri Lanka is one of the most underrated wildlife experiences in the world. Next, we have cruising through Ha Long Bay, Vietnam. Ha Long Bay looks like a movie set. Limestone cliffs rising out of the water in every direction. You sleep on a traditional boat, kayak through caves, and wake up to mist floating between the cars. It feels dreamlike from start to finish. It's about $150 for a 2-day, 1-night cruise, so it's not super budget friendly, but that does include all your meals and activities like kayaking. This is one of the most beautiful places I've ever woken up. I specifically remember waking up that morning, heading up to the rooftop of the boat for sunrise yoga, and just watching the gorgeous sunrise over the water and the karst all around you while you're doing the yoga. It was just so magical. It felt like a movie or something. The entire experience was so relaxing and more so about soaking in the karst views from a different vantage point, because when you do get to Ha Long, or if you already were in Ha Long before the cruise, there are tons of hikes and viewpoints to see the karst from the land, which is gorgeous. Of course, I highly recommend doing that before or after your cruise too, but just being on the boat in the middle of the water, just kind of surrounded by the karst, is just a different experience. You're not looking at the scenery, you're just living inside of it, and it's beautiful. And the last one is driving a moped around Bali. Bali completely changes when you're on a scooter. Suddenly you're driving through rice fields, pulling over at random waterfalls, passing tiny temples, and finding places you would never see from a car. It feels like total freedom mixed with a little bit of chaos. And of course, if we're being honest, it doesn't specifically have to be Bali. Anywhere, especially places in Southeast Asia, are unbelievable when you explore them on a moped. I remember taking these back mud roads in Laos to find these bright turquoise lagoons, or driving to so many amazing viewpoints amongst the karst in Yangshuo, my favorite place in all of China. So driving a moped anywhere honestly just gives you that freedom and allows you to explore untouched or lesser known places that you can't really get to by car, by public transportation, or on a tour group. But for some reason, renting a moped in Bali specifically is just one of my core memories. I think because it's an island and I just kept extending my trip, which originally was supposed to be 10 days, and I ended up spending 2 months on the island. And because I had the motorbike the entire time I was there, which was only $3 a day to rent, which is crazy, I explored every square inch of that island. So I just felt like I had seen it all. And of course, all the main tourist sites like Tagalalang rice terraces, Cantalampa waterfall, Monkey Forest, but all of the places I had never even heard of before, I just looked pretty. So I'd just pull over on my moped. You know, I was solo traveling at the time, so I just felt so connected to this island, and I had the freedom of just zipping around, doing whatever I wanted and exploring every square inch of that island. It's just one of my core memories that will stay with me forever, and an experience I think everyone, especially backpackers looking for unique travel experiences, should have. The funny thing about backpacker bucket lists is that they're never built from guidebooks. They're built from stories, from meeting someone in a hostel who says, oh my god, you have to do this, and suddenly your route changes, your plans change, and sometimes even your entire perspective on travel changes. Every single experience on this list felt less like sightseeing and more like stepping into a different world for a few moments or a few days. So if you are planning a trip and you want it to feel just unforgettable, not just photogenic, like just start adding experiences like these to your list, the kind that make you feel small, they make you feel uncomfortable and completely alive, while also getting a taste of the real culture and the people of the place that you're visiting. And if you've done any unique backpacker experiences that belong on this list, drop them in the comments, because I'm always looking for the next one to add to mine. So now let's take a look at my hostels for beginners videos so you're fully prepared for your first backpacking adventure.